off on reacts and see how the internet reacted to the game yesterday. So,
I think you have to does he have to refresh? Oh no, he hasn't gone the likes.
Yeah. So first up from the Spurs Express via BBC Sport, or BBC Sport via the Spurs Express, says, one Tottenham player whose identity is withheld to protect his position in the dressing room simply believed the squad lacks depth and that further investment is needed to push towards the top of the table. The players have given their support to Postecoglou on the record, and the positive feeling is being reflected in off-the-record conversations with BBC Sport.
Well, for me, that's as much as the results aren't good enough. That is a positive, and that's why I think that's probably the main reason why I think it's just worth sticking with for now. If he's got, if he retains the support and we sack him, how's that going to affect the dressing room? You know what I mean? So I think that's a positive, as they are still with him. The results, we are struggling. We're in a poor moment at the time. We've got an injury crisis and all that kind of stuff. But the bare face of it, regardless of all those facts, we should be doing better. I think we all know that. But if the players see a way forward and they retain a positive feeling around Poch, because I'm sure the players don't want to be in 11th. I'm sure they're pissed off, right? I'm sure they're not happy in the position we are. And I think if a different manager was in charge, they probably would want him gone if they were in that position. But the fact they don't want him gone shows to me that there is still a pathway to turn this around.
But will he get the squad depth that he craves and these players crave? And if he doesn't get the depth, then we keep going in this direction. I mean, how long until these players and the players that we want to keep, like the Romeros and Kulusevskis and stuff, start getting disillusioned?
That's a question for another day.
Lily White Lab says, this is where I'm at. There is no manager out there available that has a higher ceiling than Ange. There are managers who have a higher floor, though, who would bring stability and consistency. So does Levy really want to be the best team in the league, or does he want to win a League Cup and qualify for Europe? That should determine what he does. Personally, I'm someone who want us to be the best, and I believe Ange has the ability to get there. If Levy wants more of a reliable, stable manager, there are a few out there who'd be better suited than Ange. I mean, I don't know, because everyone goes, "Oh, you can't get a manager mid-season that's going to be good." I mean, Man United just got Ruben Amorim mid-season,
and have things improved?
He's been there 2 games.
Exactly, and but they haven't improved. Yeah, have they?
That's been there 2 games.
But you're wanting to get rid of Ange because you want it to improve immediately.
Ange has been there a year and a half now.
Okay,
and we haven't seen any sort of evidence that we can show any sign of consistency.
But we've shown that how good we can be on our day.
And how bad we can be on our day.
Yeah, but it's about getting to that level more consistently. Getting to the level of how good you can be is not easy.
And getting to the level of how bad we can be is not easy too.
Yeah, that's very easy.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. That's very easy.
How's it easy?
It's because a lot of managers have shown that.
Who has shown that he can be as bad?
Conte, we lost to Burnley, we lost to all these teams. Like we lost to.
But Ange has a much better team than what Conte had.
Ange has a better. Yeah, but he does have a better team. And he has a better squad, but still, when you're in the period where we are, of course we need to be in a better spot and we need to be getting better results, and that should be the aim. But getting to the level where we can get these big wins is also not an easy thing to do. And the fact that we can play that well, we haven't played that well in the like that we've played in those games in a long time, and I think we have to aspire to get to that level more consistently rather than just throw the whole project, because at the moment we're failing to do that.
Like I said before, I don't know if Ange goes, I don't know what we're throwing out the door, because there's nothing apart from like a few one-off games here and there to tell me that we could ever show signs of stability and consistency. I
think all teams at this point, maybe we're showing even more inconsistency than other teams, but a lot of teams at this moment of what they're trying to build to show a lot of inconsistency. Maybe we're more inconsistent than those, but still the point stands. It's very inconsistent at this point, and I think we just have to ride through it. That's what I would do. All
right. Glory says, this is Ange Ball, this is insanity. This is a constant theme though with Spurs, isn't it? Just so many free men at the back post.
But look at this. There's 4 men there around Cole Palmer. 4 men. Like, Timo Werner is marking no one. I don't know, who's that? Is that Basuma? Why is he there, not just on Cucurella? If Werner turns around, he can go and mark Enzo. You can blame Porro, but Porro technically has 3 men there. He's marking one in Jackson, who's keeping him offside. He's got Sancho in the back post, and he's got Enzo there. Like, but the thing is, we have the numbers there. The numbers there. It's not about we're too open because everyone's attacking. The players are there defensively.
Yeah, but we've seen this a number of times where we actually have enough men back, but still we leave too many free men. This isn't the first time we're seeing this.
No, it's not.
Like, we see this on a constant basis, how we just don't defend anywhere like close to what we should be. Like, the back post is always free, and I just don't understand it. That's on the management.
100%. I don't disagree with that. But also, the players have to take some personal responsibility here. What is Werner looking at? Like, how is he not turning around?
Ball watching. They're all ball watching.
Why is he ball watching? Exactly. Dragistin is not doing anything as well there. He's just standing around. Like, there has to be a lot more organisation. And at the moment, it was just a mess. It was a panic.
StatMuse FC says goal and assist versus the Premier League Big Six in the last 2 seasons. Cole Palmer 10, Bukayo Saka and Son Heung-min 9. Not sure why we got this one in there.
Did I like this one? I don't know. Sammy, you bastard. You bloody bastard.
THFC Anna says still spot on with this, by the way, and this was Conte's run.
Classic. Always comes back after a defeat.
Southampton away 2022, was it?
2023.
2023. And you know what's coming?
23, yeah. Conte.
What year are you? 24?
We're in 24 now.
Yeah. Oh, it was January 23.
It was like March 23, I think.
March 23.
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't 22?
Yeah. Because Champions League, when we got Champions League under it, now it's 21-22, and then the following season was 22-23.
Ah, okay. And then Ange came in 23-24.
Now we're 24-25.
Yeah, 24-25. But yeah, I mean, I watched this on the way in.
After every defeat, Ben just he sets his alarm clock with Conte.
This club, alibis. This club is always looking for alibis. You can change your manager. And I've seen the managers that have come through this door, yeah? I've seen the list of managers.
It's the Tottenham version of Braveheart. That's what it is. You just wake up with your, this club!
I've seen the list of managers that have come through this door, yeah? But you just want to keep on going at the managers. Yes, it's all the manager's fault. And it's 100% true. He's 100% spot on.
Well, nothing's changed. That's the reality.
Lily White Rose with a screenshot of Romero's red card last season to Caicedo's non-red card last night.
Yeah, I think Caicedo got away with one. Definitely.
The thing is, VAR always gives the red for that.
Yeah,
always.
I don't know why they.
Then in one game, they're just like, nah, no serious foul play there, people. Next one is Green Milligi says, thank you, Sonny. Head up, Sonny. And this is Sonny just looking dejected after the game, coming off the pitch, unfortunately.
Although there is a part of me, not to criticise Son, but there is a part of me is like, you want your captain to be consoling everyone. You don't want everyone to be consoling your captain.
Yeah, true.
That, in a way, and I felt after yesterday, like everyone was going up and consoling him and everyone. But and I understand he feels that responsibility after a big miss, but he should be the one rising above that all and trying to keep everyone else's heads up instead of people trying to keep his head up.
Yeah,
and that's not. I don't know. That's just how I see a captain.
Yeah, look, I get what you're saying, and I kind of do agree in a certain extent, but it also just shows how much he cares as well.
No, I get that. I don't blame him because that's just how he is as a person, and that's always how he's going to be. It's just his character. But I don't know. That's how I've always envisioned a captain as someone who.
You've also seen it for Korea as well, like when they go out the World Cup or something's happened in the World Cup, like he's like crying after the game and stuff.
Yeah.
Look, I do think in a lot of other aspects, like he's very good as a captain as well. So it's a bit of give and take. But Talk THFC says, I'll sack this manager, and these gullible fans will continue blaming manager after manager and not me. And you know what? This is a good point because, you know, I've said what I've said about Ange. And if it was under any other like competent ownership that I believe can take us to the top, I probably would want Ange out like now. But because of the situation that we're in, I'm just so confused about what I want, because I don't think keeping Ange will do us any favours, and I don't think sacking Ange will do us any favours either. That's the reality.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. You don't see a good pathway either way. So, I mean, yeah, look, at the moment, it doesn't look like he's going to sack him anyway. That's for the time being. So, doesn't look like he's on the brink. But, I mean, look, I think all this talk about him being on the brink isn't from what we've heard. It was more just about how we know Levy is. That's just everyone's assuming that he's on the brink, but we haven't seen any evidence of him being on the brink. No,
but you do feel like sometimes when these things come out, a few more results and then it changes.
Yeah, potentially.
No context. Tottenham. Someone graffitied the club toilets yesterday in the stadium, saying "F off Levy, get out of club, Enoch out." I mean,
get out of club. Jesus.
Get out of club.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I mean,
was that you? Oh God.
I don't know why you're graffitiing the toilets. Like, it just makes no sense. That's really gonna send shockwaves through the club, isn't it?
Once Levy goes for his piss, he'll know exactly where he stands.
Oh God. StatMuse FC saying highest goal difference this season in the Premier League: Liverpool plus 18, Chelsea plus 17, Arsenal plus 14, Tottenham plus 12. The table position of those teams: first, second, third, and 11th.
It's just Tottenham, isn't it? This is how we are.
Only Tottenham.
Yeah.
Only Tottenham can score this amount of goals, concede that amount of goals, and be where we are in the table.
We can probably be first amount of goals scored and first for the least conceded and still be 11th.
It's like under Poch, right? We were had the best defensive record and the best attack over the course of 2 seasons, and we still couldn't win a league. Where it's like, if you look through the history of the Premier League, anyone with those stats would have won at least one title.
The football gods just don't like us. That's just it. We have to accept it.
Yeah, Mari.
What did we ever do to the football gods? What did we ever do?
Mari says, we all have moments when we need support. We don't always need to suppress our emotions. We've seen this support his teammates many times, and today it was his turn. The captain is also human. He has emotions, the right to feel bad and express himself however he wants. And this was obviously a lot of players going to console Sonny after the game yesterday.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, this is actually in response to this is someone saying this is our captain who is being consoled by other teammates. A club captain should be a leader and should galvanise the team. Sonny is a great person and has done wonders for our club, but I'm sorry he's no leader. And someone says, please try to comfort the captain after players trying to comfort the captain after a Derby home defeat. Son is past. He is not a leader, not truly, means well, but not up to it. Speechless. I mean, as much as I agree, I understand the sentiment of what you're trying to say. I also think Mari is right. That sometimes even a leader needs to be comforted in that time. Maybe he's been there to comfort a lot of other players in tough times, and yesterday was a time where he's obviously struggled with that big moment that he missed, and it ultimately went towards costing us the game. But yeah, look, he'll dust himself down and you have to be up for the next game.
Yeah. Next up from Vicario Archive, and this is Vicario consoling Sonny after the game on his crutches.
Yeah.
Which I guess was in the previous one as well. Next up, let's go through some of these Sonny quotes after the game. And he says, yes, we can't concede goals like this. I could stay here all day talking about the mistakes, but I'd rather blame myself for my chance, and I'd rather take the blame. I feel the pain because it was such an important moment of the game.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise that Sonny taking responsibility. He always does that.
Yeah. And then the next one, it says, I let the team down. I'm very sorry. We can't concede the way we did. I would hold myself accountable for missing that big chance. We do really care about the club. We have to stick together.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because as much as Sonny missed that chance and he'll come under criticism. He won't come under as much criticism as, you know, Basuma and Sarr. We won't call Son brain dead and all these kind of things for missing a chance. But at the end of the day, when you look at the roles of the teams, like the roles of the players, missing a chance like that could be just as costly as having that big mistake at the back. But because of, you know, one cost you a goal and the one just cost you the opportunity to score one, it won't get the same criticism. But in a way, like, that is his job, is to put the ball in the back of the net in that kind of position. And if he doesn't do it, then he's also made, you could argue, just as big as a mistake.
Yeah, you could.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You can say that, but also, if you want to look at the barefaced facts and the goals that we conceded and the goals that we scored, we did score 3 goals. Sonny did get a goal. And if those stupid penalties don't happen, you never know. We could have actually snatched something from the game.
Yeah, it's also true.
StatMuse FC says Son Heung-min has scored 26 goals versus the Premier League Big Six. Only 2 current players have more, and that is Salah and Vardy.
Vardy, unbelievable, timeless.
Yeah, he's still banging them in, Jamie Vardy.
He's 37, is he? 38, bloody yeah, he's still got the pace.
Yeah.
Maybe, he's 38, he's still got pace. His diet is Skittles vodka.
Skittles vodka and Red Bull.
Exactly, and what's Son's diet? So maybe Son could be still firing them in at 38. Come on.
Lily White Rose says, the other massive issue I see with the squad is the lack of characters. They are all so nice. Imagine one of our players had committed that tackle by Caicedo yesterday and the game being at the bridge. Chelsea would have swarmed the ref and picked up the ball until the red was shown. And that goes back to Jose Mourinho's time at the club.
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that. I think they are all like... maybe, look, some people say it's not because they're not winners, all this kind of stuff, but I do think they're not kind of little shitbags, you know. They don't put pressure on referees. They don't bully opposition teams at corners and stuff like that. They don't try and get all these unfair advantages, and sometimes these little things can make a big difference.
But also, Ange has said like he's not really interested in all that kind of stuff, and he doesn't like that kind of stuff.
And no, I'm not saying he's wrong, but maybe he's wrong.
I think he is wrong because I think all the big teams do that all throughout history. You know, look back to Man United with their successful teams. They got the edge in that way, and, you know, referees were at points scared to give decisions against them at Old Trafford. You look at Liverpool, I feel like they do it. I feel like Man City as well. You know, all the big teams that are really successful are aggressive in those situations.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's maybe lacking. Maybe it's because we're a young squad or whatever, but I think our big players as well, they're not really those kind of characters. They are very nice. Yeah. And that's
too much nice guys.
I don't know if that's something that will change, but that's also the kind of characters we look to sign. Like we want characters who will fit in well in the squad, who are all good people kind of thing. And I'm not saying you have to be a bad person, but maybe that's kind of a personality trait we are missing a bit.
I agree with that. Dahlia, big chances created, big chance created, chances created, big chance missed leaderboard. So let's have a look at this. So
this is just Tottenham, is it? Just Tottenham?
Just Tottenham, yeah. So big chances created. You got Son on 10, Decky on 6, Maddison on 4, Timo on 4, and Solanke on 4. Then you go to chances created, 34 for Decky, 25 for Son, 23 for Madders, and 23 for Porro. And then you look at big chances missed. Solanke, 8 big chances missed. Brennan, 6 big chances missed. Maddison, 5 big chances missed. And Sonny, 4 big chances missed. And 2 of those were yesterday, I think.
2 of those were yesterday. So Son maybe being let down by a lot of chances he's creating. Well, yeah. Solanke is definitely one of them was yesterday as well.
It's interesting as well, though, like Timo Werner is up there with Maddison and Solanke for the big chances created. Only 2 behind Decky.
2 behind Decky. Fair. Well, I think again, one of them was definitely yesterday.
Yeah.
In the stoppage time.
Yeah, but that was a great ball. It really was.
Yeah, it was a good ball.
XG philosophy without penalties: Tottenham 2.91 and Chelsea 1.46.
Yeah, those penalties really did cost us a lot. I think. Unfortunately, it was so needless. That is what it is.
Nashville Spurs, I'm having a bad day. not bad enough. Let's make it worse.
Yes, that's how Tottenham are.
And everything was just going a bit too well yesterday as well. You know, Arsenal dropping points, Van der Ven and Romero back in the team. Tottenham, hold my beer.
Exactly. Let me just ruin your day for you.
Luke Cam with a thing from Kuti Romero saying Romero reached out to Argentinian commentator who criticised Ange Postecoglou after Tottenham's loss at Brighton to defend his manager. Romero said that for as much as the team may take risks, they will eventually be rewarded, and that the team is a family that can compete for something.
But that, I think, that was after Brighton. I think it's in response to him saying something after the...
It was in response to him, quote, retweeting this post yesterday saying, because Romero came out in backing Ange Postecoglou after the game on social media, and then someone replied to it saying, oh no, he clearly signaled that he would leave if Levy was to sack Ange. Unfortunately, the only two who has ambitions. And actually Romero actually retweeted that.
So it's interesting, there's a couple things there. He's saying he would leave if Levy was to sack Ange, and he's also kind of calling out Levy because he's saying only him and Ange have the ambition.
Yeah.
Which is quite an interesting repost.
Because imagine if you're Romero, right, and you've been made vice captain of the football club. You know, last season didn't go well because we started really well and blah, 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 injuries, and we never be able to regain that form, and you're really looking to push the club on to the next level. And imagine you're Romero, just won the World Cup, Copa America, all this kind of stuff, and you're seeing the transfers that are coming into the club.
He's won 3 international trophies in a row.
Yeah, and you're seeing the transfers coming into this club, and you know, I'm not doubting that he doesn't think Gray and Bergvall and Odegaard and all these players are good players and going to be good players in the future. But his career is a short career, you know. He needs to win stuff now. He needs to go on to the next level now with all the rumours of Real Madrid and this one and that one coming in for him. And like you say, and like I say, you know, the competitions on international level that he's won. He's like, come on, guys, like we need to push on to the next level now, not in 5 years.
Yeah, I understand that.
Spurs Connect. Jamie Carragher stated that Daniel Levy should leave Tottenham and let someone else be in charge on Sky Sports last night.
This is big. Is it big?
It's not really big.
It's
no.
not really big. I think he's right. And obviously we all know that what do you call it? Yeah, we all know about Daniel Levy. We spent hours and hours complaining about him. I don't think it's the first time Carragher's complained about him. I think, in fact, they had a debate, him and Neville, a few years ago, didn't they? Neville was saying Levy's actually not bad, and Carragher was like, no, they're never going to challenge for big things under Levy. And now he's saying Levy should move aside and give someone else a go, but unfortunately, that's not football. You don't just step aside because the football club's not winning trophies. There has to be a reason for it, and has to be sold. Someone has to buy it, and yeah, I don't know when that will happen.
Yeah, you don't know anyone with a spare $6 billion in their back pocket.
I'll see who my contacts. Who I've got.
I'm in love with him says, I hate it here, and look how dejected Son is after the game, clapping the fans as he always does, and then he's just
remembered his miss.
Broken, absolutely broken.
Yeah, I feel for him. It's a bad miss.
Last word on Spurs. This is just back to the Jamie Carragher thing yesterday on Sky Sports. He had an analogy. I wake up every morning, if the sun is shining, this is on Ange Postecoglou, by the way. I wake up every morning, if the sun is shining, I put on a pair of trainers and shorts and a t-shirt, but if it's raining, you put your coat on. So obviously he's saying Ange Postecoglou only plays one way of football, no matter who it is, against. And I kind of agree with this to a certain extent. It's just like, we're not good enough to play the same brand of football against everyone. You know, sometimes we do need to change it up.
I think it's more what I'm frustrated with Ange is sometimes it's not necessarily that we always attack and all that kind of stuff, because I do think, you know, yesterday we were penned back and we did have to drop back and all that kind of stuff. It's more that there are certain details within setups which I feel like we don't adjust for sometimes. For example, let's say a team is playing with a wing-back system or something. We're just going to keep our same setup, and we're not going to adjust. We don't adjust things until we see things going wrong. Like, we just concentrate on perfecting our game. And I think managers at the very, very top level, like Pep and Arteta and stuff, I think they, in general, maybe Arteta less so these days, but I think in general they obviously try and win every game and they try and attack, but they really drill into the details of each. And Maresca, I think, does that as well, of the setup of the opposition and see how they need to change things in their setup just to make sure they're not being exploited or they can exploit the opposition a different way. I feel like we don't do that. Not to say that he doesn't have the ability to do that, or is he just being stubborn, or I don't know. But at the moment, that's a big frustration I have with Ange. Does it mean you can't win enough games with the way we play to justify it potentially? But when it comes to those marginal gains, those tiny details, I feel like we too often ignore them sometimes, and that can have a compounding effect.
Yeah, I agree with that. This was the Romero quote up next. How he came out into defence of Ange Postecoglou from BBC. He says he's a great coach. We saw it in the first season. In his second one, we've suffered a lot of injuries. Players should be the first to be criticised. Then if we lose 10 games and the staff can be changed, we are very happy with this staff. Me and my colleagues, we love how they work and the football they are trying to play.
So do we think he was the player that that BBC were referring to?
Very well could be.
This is a BBC report.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm putting two and two together. But, yeah, look, that's good to hear, at least, that they back the manager, because if they didn't, there's no reason to publicly say it. So they So it seems as though they still they are on board with him. So for me, if the players are on board with it, then I think we should stick with it.
But we also had players that were, loving to play under Mourinho and Conte too.
Yeah, and I don't think it was necessarily the right thing to sack them. I mean, obviously, Mourinho, we fell apart in the Europa League. That's why I wanted him gone. But, we all know before a cup final that wasn't the right decision. It's not like things have improved. Conte's got far worse once we sacked him.
Yeah.
But again, some say he resigned. I don't know if he resigned or he got sacked. But anyway, either way, he...
that press conference was pretty much a resignation.
Yeah, he was always going to go after that press conference, whatever happened. But things did get far worse after we sacked Conte.
Yeah.
So I don't if we would have kept them on, I don't think it would have been necessarily a mistake, because it didn't exactly get better once we sacked them. So I don't think it was the.
Did get better after we sacked Nuno though.
Yes, that was after 10 games we sacked him. But
now it's under 14
performances
games.
were that bad. Like even when we won, we didn't win well.
Yeah.
We were just scraping poor wins. That's not happening here, I don't think.
Yeah, when we win, we'll the wins are great. Like when we win, we're playing great football, but they're just too few and far between.
Yeah, that needs to change.
Bissouma, after the game, came out on Instagram and says, "I'm so sad for that mistake. It's burning me because we lost the game today from this mistake. I feel sorry for my teammates, staff, and the fans. I take all the responsibility for that one. I'll learn from this one. It's time now to show the real me. Thanks for all the support." Well, he's not going to be able to do that at Southampton because he's suspended. And a lot of players, Sonny and Bissouma, all coming out and saying it's their fault.
Yeah, sorry, I'm seeing what this Porro stuff is. People are talking about is I'm trying to look it up. But look, glad to see him take responsibility. It was really poor from him in that moment. He is a player clearly playing a hell of a lot, but that moment isn't just because he got overplayed. It was just him made a bad mistake and then made a second mistake trying to make up for that mistake. I think all beings have done that in their life, made a mistake and then tried to make up for it, made things worse. That's what he did in that situation.
The difference is he's a professional footballer and he should know better, especially with the stature of his squad.
But that can happen. That can happen, unfortunately. In any in life, in football, it's no different. Of course, he deserves criticism. He will get criticised. He's made a mistake and compounded it with a second mistake by trying to make up for that first mistake, and he's made things a lot worse. And that was, of course, it's not good enough because we conceded a penalty and it ended up costing us. But I do understand, how he would feel after that.
All right, next one is just back on the Kuti stuff, which we'll go to the next one from Orgs, saying #letdown. This is a quote retweet from the stats yesterday, and he says, "Our whole season is the biggest example of players letting down the manager I've ever seen. I mean, we just see this time and time again, though, under Spurs, with Spurs, just managers and managers being let down by players, managers and players let down by the owners as well. I mean, it's just a whole heap of people just letting people down.
Yeah, and that's just Tottenham is just one big letdown.
Yep.
And if you've if you follow Tottenham long enough, I think you would all know that.
Mari says Spence, Vicario, Lucas, Archie and Radu all trying to comfort Sonny, which we've been through. Echo THFC says sacking Ange won't stop injuries, make our players less retarded. Make Daniel Levy and Enoch care, not his fault. I mean, is there a case to say that the amount of injuries that we do get is potentially on the style of play?
I mean, Vicario's one isn't. I don't know if Romero's one yesterday is that of style of play. I mean, maybe you could say Van de Ven's and Davis hamstrings. Maybe that's a case of obviously Bentancur. That's got nothing to do with style of play. Richarlison, I don't know if that's got anything to do with style of play.
But it's just like Richarlison had never had like consistent injuries before he joined Spurs, and as soon as he joined Spurs, that's it. Just like can't keep him fit.
When Maddison picked up an injury, that was an ankle one. That's got nothing to do with style of play. That was just an impact injury like last year. So I don't think all of it is. Some of them maybe, but I don't think all of them are.
Yeah. I'm in love with him. Mood. This is Vicario yesterday on the sideline. Just
he was. He probably feels so helpless, like on the side. I know Forster's doing all right, but still, we still miss him. As much as just because a player comes in and fills in and does well doesn't mean you don't miss the player.
We're just missing him less than we thought we would have done.
Yeah, I mean, Forster can still save a ball, fair enough, but we're still Vicario is still a much better keeper, and we still miss his presence. I feel.
Counterpressors saying again, I find myself aching for Ange Postecoglou. Daniel Levy is a parasitic entity draining Tottenham of its potential. They have been blessed with a generational manager. However, Levy does not want to back him. Anyone blaming this result on Ange is clueless. This is one of the individuals, regardless of Ange's tactical instruction. He cannot make the decisions for these players. Therefore, don't blame the reckless decisions on the manager. This squad needs dramatic reform. Romero, Sarr, Bergvall, Kulusevski and Solanke. The rest need to be shipped. Heung-min Son today was atrocious. He is finished. His legs have evaporated. If Levy sacks Ange after this, then no manager can stop the rot.
So only Romero, Sarr, Bergvall, Decky and Solanke can stay. So Van de Ven's going, Porro's going, Udogie's going. Who else is going? Bentancur, Basuma's going. Bentancur, Basuma's going. Maddison's going. Vicario's going. Yeah, I think we should really listen to this guy.
Reece James says, go and get Ryan Mason.
Go and get Ryan Mason. Come on.
Kulu_THFC says, 2 pens and completely inept individual mistakes. This was an Ange masterclass against a £2 billion squad. £2 billion squad.
I mean, a bit of a overestimation, but I also don't think it was as bad as a lot of people are saying. But it was, I mean, look, at times it was very bad. It's no doubt about it. But we also did create a lot of opportunities. Like, everyone just focuses on what we conceded, but no one says, oh, we did create a lot of chances, which we did. But obviously, when you lose 4-3, no one's going to care about that.
This is a pretty extensive thread. This Lily White Lab one. I think it's a bit too much.
Too much, Lily White. Sorry, Kish.
Too much.
We showed you anyway. Don't worry about it.
We're going to go on to the next one, Super Spurs. I still don't get how Spurs fans can watch that game and say Ange needs to go. Firstly, because it was boneheaded from the players for their goals. And secondly, you're the one asking Levy to hire another manager. You must be bonkers if you think he's going to bring someone of note in. Yeah, fine. I get the sentiment, but the reality is it's just been nowhere good enough for a while now. Not just this one particular game.
Mm-hmm. No one's disagreeing with that. No one thinks 11th is where we should be, or is is good enough to be. But as much as it's not good enough, I think he could turn it around.
Charlie Parrish says, I think it's very much okay to believe Levy is the root cause of Tottenham's issues, whilst also having big doubts over Postecoglou at this point. He's played Arsenal and Chelsea 4 times at home and lost all 4. We've now lost more league games than we've won since the Chelsea 4-1.
It's all true.
Yeah.
Look, when we're 11th, it's only natural we're going to question the manager. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Of course, we're 11th in the table after 15 games.
Yeah.
No one's going to not question it. You have to question that, but doesn't mean it's the right decision to sack him.
Yep, I guess only time will tell, won't it? Craig Mitch says, sack him tonight. Clueless manager that hasn't instilled any belief in this team. No mentality. It all comes from the gaffer.
I mean, it's a very hard thing to instill. That doesn't come overnight, and it's not a thing that just one day you have it, one day you don't. It takes time. That's the one thing that takes time to instill. You have to go through these periods to instill that.
Yeah.
That's reality, and we're going through it.
Yeah.
Maybe not this bad, but still, the point stands. When to build that kind of mentality, you have to build that hardening of the squad that comes with this really rough period, and we have to go through it. Obviously, it's probably rougher than it should be. That's the reality as well. Or
You
maybe
do look
it's
at
too rough.
Teams like Chelsea, though, who also have a really young squad. I know, probably at this stage last season under Ange, we were feeling a similar way that they're probably feeling about Maresca right now. So maybe it's not the best comparison.
And also £1 billion or whatever they've spent on the squad, which also helps.
Yeah,
I think it accelerates it when you spend that amount of money, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, last year they were a complete mess, and they'd still spent $1 billion.
Last year they were a complete mess, and they still spent $1 billion. Yeah.
And Maresca's come and kind of glued it all together.
No, he's done well. I'm not saying he hasn't done well. He's done a really good job. 15 games in, they're 4 points off the top. So I mean, I can't deny he's done a fantastic job.
Do you think they're in a title race this season?
I mean, defensively, I wasn't that impressed with them yesterday, to be honest. And I also think, we talk about our depth. I think they're one Caicedo injury away from having big problems in midfield. I think, because I think they're very reliant on him. So if they can keep him fit,
Caicedo's been playing quite a few games at right back though recently.
Yeah, but he inverts. They play him a right back, they invert him into the centre. If they were to just not have him on the pitch, I think they would be a lot worse off for it.
I think he's the best CDM in the league.
Right, so this season he has been. This season he has been. I don't think there's any. I don't think they're. Look, to be fair, when you've got that firepower, if you just outscore everyone,
that's what I'm saying. They've scored the most in the league. They're only 4 points off Liverpool.
Their firepower is brilliant. I still think defensively, I don't know if they're good enough.
Yeah,
I just don't know. Their back line, still don't know if it's good enough to win a league. And I still think they're very reliant on Caicedo in the middle.
I think if Liverpool are going to have a drop-off, I think I'd back Chelsea over Arsenal.
Look, Chelsea still have to do it over a whole season. It's only 15 games.
True.
So they it's one thing to do it after 15 games, but they have to hit a big dodgy patch first, and maybe gets a few injuries. They've been quite lucky with injuries, albeit they have a squad to deal with it. But yeah, look, they've done well. They've done very well, and Maresca is doing a great job. There's no doubt about it.
Spurs Journo says, in 12 to 18 months, if we're lucky, we're all going to be banging on about how Potter's level was always Brighton, or how Frank's level was always Brentford, and how they're out of their depth, whatever. Debate. One thing I have observed about Spurs' fan base is that they make incredible swings in mood per results. Maybe it's a consequence of being Big Six team and so desperately want success, whilst also having that identity of a bit of an underdog. But there's been a few times already this season I've seen Spurs fans say, "Yeah, we're absolutely on track. This is the project. It's a project." And other times he's got to go. We're going nowhere.
Yeah, and he's absolutely right. We are such a volatile fan base. He's completely right. It's hard to.
I think every fan base is like that, though.
No, I don't think as much as ours. I don't. We literally.
Not every fan base has been able to put up with what we've put up with.
No, it's true. I think, but we wildly swing from game to game as in terms of what we believe. I do wonder, actually, we did this poll, didn't we? I guess we'll do it quickly. We did this poll after the Bournemouth game. And what do you think the poll would be today? Because we did this poll. And it was 65% Ange in after the Bournemouth game. What do we reckon it will be today?
I think it'll be similar.
Well, still Ange in.
I think maybe just a slight decrease in the percentage, but
Go
probably.
on, everyone vote. I want to see everyone who's watching the stream vote in the poll. I want to see something. I just want to see where everyone's at. In terms of Thursday, we did it. Sorry, Friday we did it after the Bournemouth game. It was 65% Ange in. I want to see how much has changed. But I think you're expert. It's because of the PTSD we have as a fan base. That's the reality. We've gone so long without winning. We have so many false dawns as well. We've had so many times where it looks like, oh my God, something big's happening, and then it ends up blowing up or or going wrong. And so we're always waiting for it to go wrong. That's the reality.
And it always does.
It always does go wrong. And we're always there for it. We're always there to catch it when it goes wrong. But as I say, like, because we're always waiting for it to go wrong, whenever we have a loss like yesterday, or whenever in a period like we are, we're just waiting. Oh, when's he going to be sacked? When, like, it's always going to happen. It's going to happen. When it's about if, not when, kind of thing. Sorry, it's about when, not if it's going to happen. Sorry, and there's never any belief that things could actually turn around or go right, or things could end up well, because we just haven't seen it for so long.
Spurs Watch says, since last season's fixture versus Chelsea at home, Tottenham have now lost more Premier League games than they have won. I'm sorry, that is disgraceful.
Yeah, it's not good enough.
It's disgraceful.
It's not good enough.
Simon Yamene says, they'll call it excuses, but the team Ange put out played great and went up 2-0. Then Romero and Johnson get injured. Bissouma gives away a pen. Son wastes a sitter among many clear chances. Our bench is emptied. Don't see how any coach does better than what he's got. I mean,
I think other coaches could be in 11th, but yeah, they could be getting better results. But at the end of the day, it's not all about just getting better results. It's about what you're building towards. And I do think Ange has a very high ceiling with the way he can play, but it's about getting to that level more often than we're there.
It's not about getting the results, losing more games than you've won in the last year.
Of course, that matters, but it was always going to be a rocky period.
I mean, there's rocky period and there's losing more than you've won.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not good.
Over a year.
Over a year. It's not good. It's not good. And maybe...
And then there's also losing more games than anyone apart from the teams in the bottom three. I mean, that is horrific.
Yeah, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I can't deny. I can't say that is where we want to be heading, and we're going in the right direction when it comes to that. But how are we seeing enough when this team plays to suggest that in their good moments, to suggest that this team can play at a very high level when everything's in place? There is
in a one-off game, yeah.
So we need to get it in place more often.
I mean, how can you, hand on heart, say that that's a possibility when we just haven't shown it over the course of a year and a half?
Because maybe it takes more than a year and a half.
How long is it going to take?
I don't know. I can't predict the future. But I'm saying I'm more willing to give it more time than to say after a year and a half it's not working, so bin it off. I would say maybe give it to the end of the season. And if it's not working,
you say we got a good squad.
Yeah, I do think we have a good squad.
You say we got a good manager.
I think we have a good squad when there's not an injury crisis, I would say.
Well, we had a good 11 on out yesterday.
Yeah. Our 11 was, obviously Romero went off early. Clearly Van de Ven is not 100%, but he did all right. We have a good 11, but the problem is it's a compounding effect of the injury crisis. I've said this so many times. The big problem with having an injury crisis isn't the players that you're missing them. It's that you now have a compounding effect on the players that are on the pitch.
Yeah, but the injury crisis is an excuse because these poor performances and results were creeping in before the injury crisis.
Yeah, but we're now seeing them more consistently. Maybe we could have ironed them out. At the moment, they're coming more and more often. I would say before the injury crisis, the poor performances were the exception to the rule. Now it's different. Now it's turned.
I mean, it was starting to creep in every other week before the injury crisis.
I mean, how long? It depends how long you say the injury crisis will be going on for. But I can't remember off the top of my head when we started getting all these injuries. But I know we've had poor results pre the injury crisis. Obviously, we weren't the perfect team.
And the back end of last season,
we're still not the perfect
results.
team. We're still not the perfect team. Yeah, and that was bad. That was also bad.
We didn't have an injury crisis then.
We still finished 5th.
Yeah.
However, regardless of how we ended the season, we did finish 5th. That's how the whole season went, and that's how we finished it. That's the position we finished, and we deserve to finish there, regardless of how badly the end of the season went. This season, I would say, up until we started getting too many injuries, performance level was pretty decent overall. And I would say not saying there wasn't bad performances and even bad results, because there was, but I would say overall performances were all right. Since we've had all these injuries, now performances have really turned for the worse, and now the good performances are the exception to the rule, and we're performing poorly more often than not. That's how I see things. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when did the injury crisis actually start? Was it? It was after the international break, wasn't it? After the Ipswich game, or after the Man City game? When was it? Because
City, we had Dragoshin and Davis starting, so it must have been before then.
The Ipswich game, we had Romero and Dragoshin. We had a pretty much first 11 out there. Vicario, Polo.
I keep saying it's not about the 11. It's about the compounding effect that 11 has on your squad.
Okay.
That those injuries have on your squad.
But the bench was Werner, Maddison, Bissouma, Gray, Davis, Spence, Bergvall and Lancashire. It's not exactly a poor bench.
Which one against?
Ipswich.
Okay. But yeah, before at that time, I would say performances in general were I would say more often than not the performances were good.
Well, in the 4 games prior to that, we played Galatasaray. We were shocking that day.
Yeah.
Played Aston Villa, good performance. Man City in the Cup, good performance. Crystal Palace before that, shocking. AZ Alkmaar wasn't the greatest performance, but we got a win over the line. West Ham, good performance. And Brighton, one very good half and one really poor half. So you're talking about maybe 2 good performances.
No, look, before that, what game was it? Where are we? Before that Ipswich game, was it Ipswich? Before the Ipswich game, before the Galatasaray game, it was 9 wins out of 11, wasn't it?
Yeah, 9 wins out of 11 against, teams that
You have to win
our
them.
under 21 should be winning.
No, come on.
Against Karabag and Ferencvaros.
Either you give them credit for winning the games, or you don't. We won the games.
And Coventry probably deserved to lose that game.
It was 9 wins out of 11 before that Galatasaray game.
Yeah, but some
You
games...
can't say, 7
But
is
we're
one.
talking about performance level, aren't we?
Yeah.
And those... the performance level in some of these games were not great at all, even if we won the game against Coventry.
Coventry wasn't, but I think Brentford was good. Karabag was fine. United was good. Ferencvaros was fine.
That's when it started going wrong, after that game.
Then Brighton, we fell apart, but then turned around. West Ham was fine. AZ, mixed, but was good enough. Palace wasn't good. Then City and Villa were both very good. And Galatasaray was very, very bad. So I'm just saying, the performance level in those 11 games was good overall.
On and off.
Overall, good. Overall, was pretty good.
It was on and off.
Okay, well, we won 9 out of 11.
Okay, but if you go on a smaller sample size, then it goes massively against you. And it goes against us.
What do you mean?
Like if you go from Ipswich and you go to the past 6 games before that or 7 games before that, we lost 1, 2, 4 games in that period.
I'd say before Galatasaray, we won 9 out of 11. Then the injuries started hitting, and then
No, but the injuries only started hitting us from that Man City game. They weren't really hitting us that badly from the Ipswich game.
The Man City game was before Ipswich.
No, Man City game in the league.
I can't remember when it started hitting. Man City
I'm telling
game
you.
in the league.
You don't need to remember it. I'm telling you. Because I literally just read out the team that played Ipswich with the bench.
Okay.
So it's disingenuous to say...
No, Villa, because Richarlison went off injured against Villa.
Yeah, but we got players back.
Van de Ven, yeah, but clearly not fully fit because they went off again.
And anyway, the players there are good enough to win these games.
I'm not saying they're not, but when you have these injuries, there's a compounding effect in the squad that when you overplay these players and you're asking even more from them because they're playing even more, and we're getting poor results. They're trying even harder to try and rectify it. It has a bit of a compounding effect, which leads us into a situation where we are now, where we're 1 win in 7, and we're trying every game to rectify this situation by putting even more effort in. And look, and Ange has to take responsibility for that at the end of the day, because he's still asking these players to do the same thing with the same kind of intensity, when at the end of the day, maybe they're not able to do that with the problems we have, the thin squad that we have at the moment. So, but what I'm saying is, doesn't mean that can't turn, potentially.
Have to wait and see, I guess, won't we?
At the moment, it's polls 221 votes, 61% Ange in.
Yeah. Simon Yemene says they'll call it excuses, but the team we just did this one. Spurs OTM says exactly the same action, different results, and those were the 2 red card decisions. BLTHFC says Son is absolutely finished at the top level, by the way. Can't affect the game without scoring, but he's not scoring. Lost the yard of pace, lost his clinical touch. Sad to see, but we cannot keep guaranteeing him a start. First of all, he scored yesterday.
I thought he played well over the first half anyway. I thought he played well. Second half, wasn't great, but and he missed that chance. But always in the narrative, look, we just read out the stats. He's created more big chances than anyone else in this squad. Like, he's still creating chances. He's got 4 goals, 4 assists now in the league this season. Yeah, I mean, he's still got a lot to offer at this level.
Agreed. Spurs Jono says 2 penalties. Ange, how dare you make those challenges? Spurs OTM says highest goal difference. Oh, we've been through that one.
And that it?
And that's it for Spurs React. So that is how the internet did react to the game yesterday. And
apparently Porro has deactivated his Twitter, his X account, because he shared a post about his goal contributions. Supporters expressed their displeasure over the fact he did so without first acknowledging the poor